Well, good morning. Welcome back to Time with Steel Garage. We got something pretty cool on the rack today. This is my neighbor and friend Jason's 1965 F-100 pickup truck, pick-me-up truck. It's got a Ford 352 FE engine in it, which I've never worked on before. FE stands for Ford Edsel. They came in vehicles from the 50s, late 60s, I believe. You probably know more about them than me, but here's what's cool about this truck. How many of you still own the first car you had in high school? This guy right here. Jason's the same age as me, basically. I think he graduated high school like 98, a little bit older than me. But went into the military, and this thing sat in storage and in his family, and it's been stored most of its life. And up until about a year ago, they got it out of storage, got it running. But basically in its original form that he had in high school, and his current wife went on dates with him, and it's pretty cool. So I'm helping him bring it back to life. First thing he's done is put a brand new set of Kragers on there with the chrome, you know what I'm saying? Because when I was in high school, man, I had a buddy named James. He had a Gran Torino, put brand new Kragers on it. It was the thing to do, you know what I mean? So he's kind of keeping this how it was. So he's got the Kragers on there. Next thing we're gonna do today is get rid of these front drum brakes. Start with the brake system. It needs a lot of mechanical stuff, but we're gonna start with the brakes. And we got a brand new Wilwood disc brake conversion on over here. We're gonna show you how to do that, so follow along. So step one was get it on a lift, get the front wheels off. I got some penetrant that's been soaking on this thing overnight. And step two is to get these hubs and drums off of here. Here's what we're starting with. It's a Wilwood disc brake kit for a 57 to 67 Ford F-100, part number 140-14607. And if you've watched me, I've done a couple of these now. I think the last one I did was on the 64 Buick, but it's pretty good kit. Comes with massive disc brakes on it, big 6-piston calipers, all new bearings for both sides, pads, all the hardware, mounting hardware. He picked up a set of Wilwood brake lines, and then this thing, shout out to Lead Brakes in Cheektowaga, New York. That's not far from where I grew up, but this thing's pretty cool. It's got, he's keeping this thing old school with the chrome, but this dual reservoir power brake booster has a built-in pressure distribution block. So we can adjust the amount of pressure going to the front and rear brakes right here on the booster. So if you look at this thing, it's got the old school single pop master, which there's nothing wrong with that if you want to keep things original, but it also means if you pop a brake line, you're losing all 4 brakes. This looks pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty much original, and it's how he left it in high school. Him and his dad went through and got it running again, but it's a cool truck, man. I'll tell you one thing about these Fords that I'm very jealous of, having always done old Chevys, is this distributor being right here in the front of the motor. I mean, how cool is that? When this FE motor is super crazy. I've seen some things call it a medium block, some call it a small block, some call it a big block. It's definitely a wide motor, has a huge intake, and it's got a cool sound to it. So I'm excited to work on this one. All right, this is Jason, the actual Jason, the owner of the truck.
How's it going?
So we're kind of both working the truck at the same time. He's got the passenger drum off, and the Wilwood kit, pretty much you got to remove everything down to the spindle, and then we'll start over. What do you think the odds are of us getting that stock brake line off without destroying it?
Maybe 20%.
20%, I'll give it that. All right. All right, back to work. Got the spindles all cleaned up, the steering knuckles. See the massive 50 years of grease pile that's on the floor here. And now we can start putting all the new shiny parts on. So step one on this kit, mount the caliper bracket. It comes with a short bolt and a long bolt, washer, nut on each side. And you have to reuse one of the bottom front steering knuckle bolts. You don't use this bolt here. And got that mocked up, and Jason's over here. These rotors have adjustable lug patterns on them, so he checks the lug and comes with all new actual lug bolts, so he's installing those. We already got one bearing packed, and only weird thing in this kit so far is it comes with 2 seals for the spindle. There's a difference in years between 65, 67 is the green one, and the earlier years use this smaller seal. Next step's pretty simple. Big bearing in the back with a bearing seal, small bearing in the front with a washer, a nut, and a lock nut. Set your preload. Disc is installed. Next step, dust cap, caliper. All right, so we've ran into a couple of problems with this brake kit. One, the nuts that come for the spindle are not cut right. So I had to reuse the original spindle nut. And it says there's a big note on top of Wilwood's instructions that say due to variations in years and undocumented blah blah blah, you know, we can't account for all hardware changes, so it's covered in there. And then the other issue is when this steering knuckle is bolted in like the instructions ask you to do, you can't get a bolt in the bottom hole for the caliper. I tried shortening a bolt, but then you don't have enough thread engagement. So what I had to do, which is not the right answer for the instructions, is I had to back this bolt out with the hub on to get the entire steering linkage to tilt backwards for us to be able to get the bolt in for the caliper. So minor setbacks, but just some things to be aware of if you're doing a brake kit on one of these trucks. You know, there's a few different years and variations of hardware and stuff, so save your old hardware. And the other thing we didn't mention was that you have to reuse the front lower spindle bolt that from the old spindle, and you don't use a bolt up here on the top of the spindle on the front. Okay, brake kit's on. What do you think?
Sweet.
Okay, there was a lot of little problems. So this brake kit's meant for, what is it, 1957?
57 to 67.
To 67, okay. And it says right on the instructions that there'll be differences in hardware and blah, blah, blah. The spindle nuts that come with the kit don't fit this 65 spindle, so we had to reuse the original spindle nuts. The steering knuckle gets in the way of the bottom caliper bolt, so what we had to do was loosen up the steering knuckle bolts, push the front bolt back in, recessing of the rotor, enough that we could get the steering knuckle to tilt down, which enabled us to put the bolt in the back of the caliper bracket. This particular setup, 2 shims ended up working perfectly to line it up. So 2 shims on the top and the bottom. Let's see, what else did we run into? Oh, it only came with a cotter pin for the spindle, and it makes you reuse the bolt for the steering knuckle, but doesn't give you a cotter pin there. So I had to use a cotter pin there. And other than that, you got the part number for these brake lines?
Yeah.
So we got a soft brake line kit. I was able to get the brake lines undone, but next time we take those off, we'll have to replace them because they're pretty thrashed. Jason got, let's see, Wilwood part number 220-11237. Flex line kit, 22 inches. It's 3/8 by 2/4 to 90 degree. And that actually ended up being perfect for this truck. Connected to the factory hard lines.
Doesn't interfere with the wheel.
Doesn't interfere with the wheel. We checked that. There's like 2 inches of clearance behind the wheel. And these wheels are 15 by
8.
15 by 8 Kragers with what, 255 60/15 Cooper Cobras on them.
Yep.
They fit these, for those that are worried, fits this kit perfectly. Don't sue me if it doesn't, please. But that's it. It took us what, a day?
Yeah, a day and a half. No, half a day.
A half a day. And we were joking around and stuff. So Wilwood disc brake conversion, 1965 F-100 installed. So, well, we were going to use the front brake lines as is, but we ditched this single pot master cylinder, and we have a really nice lead powered brake booster that's designed for disc brakes, and it has a proportioning valve built right into it. So now we're going to have to disconnect the hard lines here on both sides and the rear hard line, ditch the distribution block. The way this lead works is it's one hard line to the left front brake, one hard line to the right front brake, one hard line to the rear. So we'll go ahead and make all brand new brake lines. That'll be another day's project. But that actually went real easy. Uses the stock bolts, comes with adjustable linkage for the brake pedal. Bolts right in. Already has the proportioning valve brake lines made. Comes with 4 fittings for the lines. But we're gonna have to make new lines. So all in all, about a half a day's work. We got disc brakes on the front of it, and power brake booster, dual pot master cylinder. Just got to make new brake lines. So I think that'll do it for today. Say goodbye, Jason.
Bye, Jason.
We'll see you next time on Time with Steel.